all the females are in season now in England and across the UK, and Chinese water deer have come into season as well. So we've come up onto the Norfolk Broads this morning to try and get a couple of Chinese water deer does. So we're going to go down into this area behind us. It's a beautiful morning, it's about 1 degree, a bit of frost on the ground, which is nice. There's a bit of mist coming up off the river down there, so the visibility might be a bit tricky. But we'll go and have a look and yeah, see what we can find. Just loaded up, just looking across this first field behind the farmyard here, and there's already 2 out. So we'll just try and get around quickly and have a better look at those. It's now arse on. Okay. So that was pretty quick. Just got out of the truck in the farmyard behind us and just had a look over this little sort of cereal stubble field here. And there was 2 or 3 out actually, so I managed to just quickly get down the side of these bales. Obviously nice support with a bipod, 138 metres, and yeah, I think we've taken a little Chinese water deer kid, so we're going to have a look and see what sex it is. That's a good start, and already since we shot that, this mist has just rolled in a bit more, so it's going to be quite difficult to see anything else down in this bottom, but we'll go and have a look at this one, and then we'll head down into the pasture area and see what we can find. Yeah, so obviously from back there, just the shape of its head, it's got quite a small stubby head, so I was pretty sure it was a Chinese water deer kid, and it is. So that was born in the spring obviously. It's a little Chinese water deer buck, so its little canine teeth are just starting to break through the gum. By the end of March they'll be sort of just about visible. So yeah, nice one to take, shot through the shoulder. So we'll just tuck it in the hedge over here and just keep going on for a little bit more. That mist just started to clear a little bit now, which is nice. So yeah, we'll keep going. Got another Chinese water deer, 200-300 metres out in the middle of the field. There's another one running along the hedgerow in the distance. Just looking at this one out in the field, it's about 240 metres away at the moment. I've got the scope wound right up to, I think it goes up to 13.5, this particular one. Pretty sure it's a doe or a kid again. So we'll just creep sort of 100 metres closer to it if we can and just have a better look. And then if it's a female or a kid, we can take that one as well. So we just crept forward to these next lot of straw bales down the side of this cover crop. The one that we were looking at before is 200 metres out there now, but just looking across the rest of the field, there's another 4 over on my left, another single one up in the distance, so another one running across now. So there's loads of activity on this field, and so you've got does and kids all together, and then the Chinese will start rutting from December onwards, so probably a couple of bucks in there as well, just sort of warming up for the rut. We'll just stay here for a few minutes and just see if this one in front of us comes down a bit closer towards us. Five Chinese water deer, they come right down in front of us. Can't really shoot now because we've got the farmhouse and the farmyard in the background. They're just chasing each other around, having a right laugh. Nice to see. Just looks like does and kids, all of them. This one just down the edge of this hedge here, but there's a house directly behind it, so there's no point even putting the gun up, obviously. It's gone in the hedge now anyway. So obviously deer damage is a big thing, and it's a real problem in certain places, but people quite often wonder what damage Chinese water deer do. And obviously if you've got them on agricultural fields and there's grazing damage, there's disturbance to sort of shoot days, you get a lot of problems with them getting caught up in fences and stuff, so it's a bit of a problem for the landowner really. But in terms of up here on the Norfolk Broads, because they're just a grazing animal, they're not really doing a huge amount of damage. And actually this bit that I'm walking through now, a couple of years ago was quite a clear track through here. But you see this Norfolk reed, it grows so vigorously that if the landowner doesn't keep on top of it by cutting it back with machinery, then it just grows back so quickly. So obviously the Chinese water deer not having much of an impact on the reeds anyway. So we've basically we started off in this direction where we shot that first one, and we've come right around the back, and we've come into this area in the bottom corner. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a bank behind me which has got the main river inside it, and obviously they pump the water from the low ground up into the river, and so we're going to go into this big horseshoe area now, and hopefully we'll see a few more knocking about in there. So we're straight round a corner. We've got another little Chinese water deer kid, 50 metres in front of us. Just got to wait for it to turn side on. Can hear loads of geese in the distance. Can actually see the frost on the back of this Chinese water deer where it's been sat down, and they're so well insulated with their hair. The frost settles on their back. well, that just clocked us anyway. Just as it turned in, I just sort of gave it made a bit of a noise, hoping to just stop it to get a shot. But it didn't stop properly, but it was just moving very slowly, so it's not a very long distance. So just took the shot. Saw the electric fence wobble all the way down here, so I guess it's just run into the reeds and hit this fence as it's gone in. So we'll just have a look around the corner. Just walked up to where this is where it stood, so obviously we've got some good heart blood here. There's not very much of it, but remember we've got these copper 243 bullets, which obviously don't give you a massive exit hole like lead used to in the old days, so there's not a lot of blood, but it's good colour. It's definitely going to be dead in there somewhere. Yeah, I've just got to try and follow it through these reeds. Hope it hasn't gone too far in. Obviously when I shot, it was moving very slowly, and I wouldn't usually take a shot of the animal when it's moving along, but it wasn't very far away, and it was, you know, moving very slowly, but it's best not to take shots at moving deer if you can help it. So you can see where it's a bit of blood on this bottom strand of the electric fence, and obviously where I shot, it made the fence vibrate all the way back round there. Then we got some blood on these reeds here going through this hole under this barbed wire fence. We got about 20 metres before it gets to some nice sort of drainage water, so fingers crossed it hasn't gone that far. So just jumped over that barbed wire fence, come in a few metres, and it's turned at 90 degrees to the left and then run along what looks like a deer track through these reeds. So we'll just follow that along. So you can see coming through here where it's actually been running on top of the reeds itself rather than ploughing through underneath them. Okay, so we just pulled this one out of the reeds. It's actually a good sized doe. Obviously over there I said, oh, it's another kid, but there we go. Yeah, as I said, as I shot, it was just walking in very slowly, so not ideal to shoot deer that are on the move, but obviously the distance, and I was quite confident taking the shot, so I did. It's a good chest shot, just on the back of the shoulder, come out the same point on the other side. So yeah, not much else we can say about it really. We've got a public footpath behind us on the bank that the river's in. There's a guy wandering along there with a big lens camera, obviously taking pictures of the wildlife and stuff. So just have to be aware of that when you're out stalking in these areas where you've got public rights of way as well. But that's the second one down. It's about 20 to 9 now, so we'll drag it back over this way to where we can pick it up with the vehicle and just see if we see anything else as we go. We'll just leave this one in the edge here because there's a few more moving around in front of us still. You always get a lot of deer in this field in the middle here, and we've just got to the edge to have a look on the next set of fields, and there's two just come running towards us, but by the time we got the gun up and got the cameras on, the closest one had run off. Just have a look over the other side here. So we just crossed over into this next set of fields. We got what looks like another Chinese water deer kid, a good sort of 250-300 metres up the edge here, so we'll just creep up the side of these reeds, see if we can get within a shootable distance. It's just looking straight at us at 150 metres, so just wait a bit. So it's number 3 down. We come about, I don't know, 80, 90 metres. So we shot it about 150 metres in the end, just checked with binoculars before I shot. It kind of knew we were there, so it was looking at us for a while. But then it forgot about us, started feeding away again. So good, 3 for the morning. We'll go and have a look at that one, and then I think we'll probably call it a day, or a morning anyway. We'll head back to Euston and see if we can get something there maybe. Good, it's a little young doe. Yeah, chest shot obviously, through the shoulders. We'll get this one back over there and get them sorted out. So that's those 3. I've just done a full gralloch on those. I know people want to see how I do it, but I tend to do it back at the larder. So we'll film it back there one day at Euston. But the reason I gralloch these ones in the field is obviously we're at least an hour away from Euston now anyway. The Chinese water deer, because all they eat is grass, they have quite juicy guts, so if you don't get the stomach out quite quickly, the wool starts to break down, and then some of the stomach content starts to sort of leach into the meat around the stomach, so you have to get these cleaned out pretty quick. So that's good. We'll get these back to Euston, probably find some breakfast, and then we'll head out at Euston, see if we can get a couple of muntjac or something. So I just got back to the larder this morning from obviously Chinese water deer. Adam from Ben Rigby Game is here picking up some carcasses. So that's our chiller cleared out again. And yeah, we can start getting more in there through this week. It's a pretty cool setup, isn't it? A bit better than in the old days where the guys had to lug all these big carcasses around and then drag them onto the back of a transit van and stuff. So back at home now, just having a quick cup of tea. It is 12:30. Obviously you've seen that we've had 3 Chinese water deer this morning, and when we do these filming days, we always like block out a full day. So we might as well make the most of it whilst it's a reasonable day and dry outside. So just finish the tea and we'll head up to the big woods, see if we can get a couple of muntjac does or something, and then yeah, see how we get on with that. Maybe try and head out for a row doe at last light in the fields. So get this down us and then get on out again. Just going along one of these rides, and we've got this fenced area here that was coppiced several years ago now, but the fence has come down in a couple of places, so just keep an eye out in there as we go, just in case there's anything that we can shoot out of there. Something down here, but just keep still a minute. There's 2 there, it's a doe and a buck. stay on the one on the left. Whoop! It's still there in the edge. I can see it in the thermal, just can't see it through the scope. There it is. Whoop! Whoop! Well, there you go. We just got into the middle of the wood here on the main north-south ride. We just hung about underneath an oak tree for a few minutes because it started to rain. We were going to go and look into this chestnut tree area, which is behind where the camera is now. Just had a quick look around with a thermal and saw some heat on the right hand side about 130 metres up. Turned out to be a muntjac buck and a doe. They came out, went back in again, and then got a shot on the doe. Generally, if you shoot the doe first, then the buck will hang around. And he did hang around, but he was always stood front on. He went back in the edge, so we just give him a few minutes, and he came back across the ride and just managed to stop him before he went in the other side of it. So it's quite good. 2 down without trying too hard. We'll go and have a look, and then we'll keep going through this chestnut tree area, see if we can find another one. So that's the little buck. It's obviously stood on a bit of an angle when I shot it. It's gone in front of the shoulder, come out sort of liver on the other side, and then the doe over here. Good. Just behind the shoulder on the way in, just behind the shoulder on the way out. So we're just walking around another fenced area. This block of woodland is classed as all semi-ancient woodland, and it's predominantly all broadleaf, apart from a few blocks of pine that they planted in the 50s as a crop. And this area on my left was a big area of pine trees, which they've obviously clear felled and they've replanted, plus they've got some natural regeneration of sort of native broadleaf species. But the problem is they put this fence around the outside of it to obviously protect the regeneration and the plantings. But there was a real bad batch of posts sort of 10, 12, 13, 14 years ago whenever they put it in. And as you can see, they've just rotted and snapped off. So this whole area's got to be reposted basically. And before they do that, we'll have to get a gang of guys in there and try and walk all the deer out this way so we get it deer free again. Because the trees in here are still a little bit too young to be left with all the red deer running about. Something through here in the thermal, and I'm guessing by the size of it it's a muntjac, but I can't for the life of me find it in the binoculars, so we might just pick our way a bit closer to it. Trouble is the wind's swirling around a lot now, so it might just wind us anyway. But it's definitely a little muntjac. It's right behind the oak tree in front of us across the ride. There's a lot of branches and stuff in the way, so we'll just creep forward, see if we can find a way through. Yeah, I think we'll have to forget about that when we wait a few minutes, but it's gone in some thicker stuff and I can't see it at all through the thermal now. we'll just keep going. It didn't really present a very good shot where it was to start with, and obviously when it moved it didn't get any easier. At least we're seeing something moving around. Safe to say the weather's taken a turn for the worst, and I don't know, come the best part of 300-400 metres down through this old hazel and scrubby bit of woodland. Bumped a couple as we've gone, and just about got to the end of the wood down here, about another 100 metres away, and probably would have started heading back to the vehicle, but just looked over and just by pure chance saw one just going away from us over there. Managed to get the gun up and have a shot on it, so it wasn't a great angle, but hopefully it's not too bad, and we will go and have a look. Cool, so it's just a little under a year old buck. It was angling away from me quite a lot, so I took it quite high on the shoulder, and it's come out the front of the neck on the other side. So just obviously you have to be a little bit careful when you're taking those angling shots, that you don't go in or out through the stomach area. So it's good. Yeah, worth coming all the way down there for. We'll just drag it out to the edge of the wood, and then we'll probably get back to the vehicle and get these 3 muntjac picked up. So just coming along the edge of the hedge here, and in the far distance there's a couple of Egyptian geese out in the field, and then to the right of them there's a sort of willowy clump of trees that sticks out from the hedge we're walking down. I can see 2 row sat down in the hedge there. It's about 280 metres at the moment. I'm not sure we're going to get a lot closer to them, but just try and edge our way forward a little bit. Have a look down the side of this next hedge, and if they're still there we'll make a plan to see if we can get any closer. Yeah, they're both stood up now, and I think they're looking in this direction, but I don't think they've seen us. The only thing we can do is just try and edge very slowly down towards them, down the side of this hedge, because we're actually on our boundary now, so we can't cross the other side to get out of sight. It's not the distance that's the problem, it's the wind. Yeah, so that worked out right in the end. I thought they were looking at us, but there was one sat in the hedge and one stood up, and they were actually just looking at the 2 Egyptian geese that were sort of stood in front of them. So just as I got on the sticks about 120 metres away, the doe on the left sort of spotted us, or spotted me, so I switched across to the one on the right, which was stood broadside, so that one went straight down, and then the other doe actually ran to it and then past it into the little thicket behind. Just waited a few minutes, I don't know, probably wasn't even a minute, and then it came back out on the left there to see what happened. And again probably came to about 120 metres, so I've shot it in the front of the chest, a little bit of an angle, so that's run into the brambles there, so we'll just give it a few minutes and go and have a look for that. But the reason I wanted to get quite close is there's quite a strong wind coming from my right to left, and these are quite light bullets in the 243, so there's a risk that obviously they're going to get blown a bit by the wind. So obviously we're getting on for time and light now. Don't want to take any risky shots just before it gets dark if we can help it. So hopefully we got 2 down. We'll go and have a look and find out what happened to the second one. Good, that's the second one down. It has actually come out of the body quite far back. Good sized doe. So I shot it right in the front of the shoulder here, and didn't really expect it to come out of the body, to be honest, but it has come out sort of just behind the liver, the other side, so hopefully it's not too much damage inside. But yeah, good result. So I just dragged the mother back to the kid. Yeah, it was a fine chest shot on that one, went straight down. So get this one on the drag, get back across to the hedge where we started, and we can get the truck there to pick him up, get back to the larder, get him sorted out, go home, get dried off. So that's it, 5:30. It's a pretty disgusting evening out there now. The rain let up a little bit when we shot those 2 row right on the last light, but it's come back in quite hard now. Obviously productive day from getting the cull done perspective. 8 carcasses to go in the chiller, 3 different species. Just to give you an idea of the different size comparison, we've got the big Chinese water deer doe, that's 11 kilos. The muntjac buck that we shot is 8 kilos, and you can see a little bit shorter than the Chinese. And then the roe doe, the big female, 17 kilos. So there's not a huge amount of difference between the size of all of them, but obviously it's more, rather than overall length, it's more sort of depth of body and massive haunches and shoulders and stuff like that. Yeah, so a good result. That's just what it's like when you've got a cull to meet. You've got to make the most of the opportunities. So you know, we're doing the cull job now rather than just the sport of going stalking. We'll get these put to bed in the chiller and then go home and dry off.